Another driver is out because of this car. So we all knew this was coming, so let's talk about it. Coming up next. So Alex Bowman is out after suffering concussion-like symptoms after hitting the wall at Texas Motor Speedway. The hit itself did not look really bad. And in fact, I would say these cars are not hitting any harder than any car in the past. The problem with this car is it is sending too much feedback even with these seemingly minor wrecks, especially to the rear of the car. It is sending way more feedback than any other car in the history of NASCAR is sending feedback directly to the driver, and Alex Bowman suffered this concussion-like symptom, or just let's call it what it is. He's got a concussion. So this was a well-known problem. Let's take a look at what Kevin Harvick had to say, basically alluding to the fact that before this car even hit the racetrack, drivers were complaining about the impacts to the drivers. Completely unacceptable that those in charge have let things get to this point. I remember it like it was yesterday when Denny Hamlin in the presentation of the new car to the drivers pleading that the car was too stiff. Data didn't agree. Time to listen to the drivers crashing them. So there you have it. The drivers raised concern before the car ever hit the track. And now, here it is. Two drivers now. Two playoff drivers, as a matter of fact. So two drivers at the top of their game out because of this car. Well, let's look at what Denny Hamlin had to say about it currently. Pretty disappointing that our sanctioning body refuses to acknowledge or accept any responsibility for drivers getting hurt. It's the same, they said. We knew better. It's wrong. These drivers continue to get taken advantage of by the system. So fans have been ignored for the past 20 years. Now NASCAR is ignoring the drivers, and there's no more excuses for it. It's time for NASCAR to step up. NASCAR has been completely silent about this, and the fact that this news didn't even come out the day after or a couple of days after, the fact that this news didn't come out until Thursday shows that NASCAR was basically trying to hope that Alex Bowman was okay so that they didn't ever have to talk about this, which leads further down that rabbit hole of NASCAR is trying to control the narrative, and it's getting ridiculous. This car needs to be fixed, and sadly enough, even though it's pretty much widely known that this car needs to be fixed, it's too stiff, and it sends a lot of impact through the car directly to the driver. A lot of people are like, oh, back in the day, these drivers were much tougher and blah, 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 blah. Like, what are you arguing? Yeah, back in the day, drivers drove cars that were more dangerous. But guess what? A lot of those drivers died. So we made the car safer. Okay, so yeah, drivers were a lot crazier and a lot tougher back then. But we saw what happened to them. Children lost dads, wives lost husbands, parents lost children. So yeah, they were tougher and crazier back then, but we realized that that was a bad thing, and we made the car safer, and that's why it is better there. So, and you don't have to take my word for it. Let's take a look at what Ward Burton, one of those drivers who drove in one of those crazier eras, had to say about driving in that era. When I raced, a lot of times us drivers had concussions. We got back in the car the next week. We didn't have the protocols they have now. It's a good thing they can test for concussions like they do. Get better soon, Alex. So yeah, one of the toughest customers to ever do it, Ward Burton. There you go. Feel free to argue with him, because I know you want to argue with me, because there's a small subset of people who think that this generation is soft or these drivers are soft. They say it all the time in the comments. I'm not a hard person to find at the racetrack. They never come up and say it to my face, but that's another thing. A lot of internet tough guys. But that being said, that small group, y'all can keep that argument to yourself, because I don't care. This car needs to be fixed. NASCAR needs to address it. NASCAR needs to come out and make a statement. And beyond the statement, NASCAR needs to come out and fix this car. They need to add crumple zones in the rear and in the front. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care if the whole point of this new car was to save teams money. I don't care about money. I care about the safety of these drivers. So fix it. And that's all I got to say about this one. So leave it down in the comments. If you want to subscribe, feel free to subscribe. All right. That's all I got for you. Thanks for your time. Peace.